Today, we're talking about why most networking fails and what you can do about it. Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Donnie Bovine, CEO and founder of Success Champion Networking and the Badass Business Summit. And today we're going to be talking about why networking fails for most people. What I've figured out over the years is I've got about 5 frameworks that I constantly deploy to make networking work for me. And that's what I really want to walk you through. And if you get these all dialed in, some really, really cool things will happen to your business. So recently, I've been doing a lot of studying on the human connection and how, you know, I, people actually develop friendships and the like. And I fell across some fascinating studies, and probably one of my favorite ones was, oh, I wish I could remember who to give the study to. Dang it! But what they did is they did an interview of hundreds of college kids that had moved into a particular university, and they knew nobody. They were from out of state and everything. And what they were trying to figure out is how long does it actually take to become friends with somebody? And it was fascinating outcomes. The first number they figured out was it takes 50 hours to get to a place where you call somebody a friend. So 50 hours worth of interactions with that individual. It then takes 90 hours spending time with that person to call them a close friend. And the really crazy thing is it takes over 200 hours to actually call them like a best friend. This was mind blowing for me, but it also tracks in how I look at networking. I think a lot of people go into networking and they think that, just because they show up, just because they participate, that people should automatically open doors for them, not understanding that real relationship building takes a lot of time to really get to know people. So, what I did to frame all of my frameworks into one cohesive thing is to break it down into a format I call C3. So, the C3 method is how you have to navigate people through this idea of taking somebody from a contact to a connection and then ultimately having them become your champion. So a contact is somebody that you've met at a networking event, maybe on LinkedIn, somebody that you've interacted with. You likely have their business cards laying on your desk right now, and they're nice people probably, but there's just not a whole lot of value in there. All right, and this is people that you're seeing at different events and the like. What I know and find that a lot of times is this is where most people sit, is they do what I call drive-by networking. They're literally meeting people at all these events and stuff. They're either A, not following up, or B, if they are following up, they're only doing like one virtual coffee or in-person coffee. They're not actually trying to form a relationship. It's like they're hoping that they're going to hit enough people that they actually have somebody go, here you go, have a client, thanks for showing up today. And so what I know is most people won't even get people to phase 2, which is taking a contact and actually making them a connection. And a connection is somebody whose name you'd bring up in conversations, right? It's somebody that you could proactively introduce to somebody because you know who they are, what they do, and how they might serve others. So you're going to do introductions. Like there's a lot more value. So for me, this is somebody that you've probably spent a good amount of time with building a very, very strong connection. So if you look at a bullseye, how I have this always laid out is the outer ring is, contacts or yeah, contacts, all the people that out there. The next ring in, this is your connection. So you've taken contacts to connections by spending more time with them, bringing more value, opening doors, right? And pushing them further. But to really get somebody to become your champion, and by champion, I mean, which is the inner bullseye of the target, is these are people who are going to bring your name up in rooms that you're not even in, right? So these are the people that, are high value friendships, relationships, and people that are going to open rad doors for you. And what I find is you're going to have tons of connections or contacts, right? You're going to have a smaller pool of connections, and then you're going to have an even micro pool of people who are actually champions in your life. And if you understand that C3 methodology, just picture a bullseye and break it down smaller and smaller, what you're going to find is most times you're not getting people off that outer ring, let alone getting them all the way down to being your champion. So the rest of these frameworks are going to sit inside this C3 ideology to help you understand, how do I take somebody from I just met you to a relationship over time where they'll actually become my champion. And so the second ID here theme here or framework is the ranking system. And so we all subconsciously, whether it's good thing or bad thing, we put people in boxes, right? So we automatically associate people with how or what we're going to do with them. And if you don't believe me, it's really, really simple. If you've ever, met somebody for the first time, hey Jay, and freaking you didn't like them out the gate, this is how I know people subconsciously are putting people into, these four different boxes of connections and conversations. So I call it the ranking system. So four tiers that we typically put people in. Rank one, these are just assholes. These are people we don't want to be around, people that we don't want to spend time with, right? We meet them and instantly they turn us off, and we don't want to be around them. Rank two, these are your general acquaintances. So if we look at the C3 model, this is where they hit the outer ring of that. And so these are now, your contacts out there in the marketplace, right? So you know them, they know you. They're probably good people, right? They're probably, people you could call on, but not a lot of high value in there. Rank three is your starting lineup. And your starting lineup, hey, Robert, your starting lineup is the people who will bring your name up in rooms you're not in. Okay. So this is where we get to your actual champions. They've moved from beyond being a contact, they became a connection, and now they're going to bring your name up. So what oftentimes is what I know is a lot of people have their starting lineup, that rank three, they have that labeled out to, these are the people that you often think of when their industry's mentioned, right? So if we think about it from that regard, this is a people that, when somebody says I'm looking for whatever industry, the person's name you think of, is your starting lineup. Meaning they're the person that's going to get the referrals and introductions. The problem is people haven't built out their championship team, right? They have a bunch of people that they will introduce, refer, and the like, but the people aren't respecting their business back and actually doing introductions and referrals and like ideas back and forth. It's a one-way conversation. So I always tell people, how can you build out your championship team? How can you put the best of the best in your starting lineup? People that respect your business will bring your name up and will open doors for you, just like you've been opening doors for them. And then rank four are your untouchables. And your untouchables are your clients, maybe celebrities, maybe influencers, These are the people that would take damn near an act of God for you to introduce somebody to them. Like, you're just going to protect them with everything you got. And the funniest thing about networking is everybody's networking to get to your untouchables, and everybody is protecting their untouchables. It always just cracks me up because people are wanting referrals, not understanding that you literally got to earn the right to get to those referrals. So now we have the C3 model. We've now had the ranking system. Now this is how you really move them from people into real champions that will help you move your business forward. And it's called the synergy triangle. And the synergy triangle is where you understand that most times when you're selling at higher levels, okay, levels where it's 5, 6, 7 figure deals, maybe 8 figure deals, that traditional networking models are not going to work for you. Why? Because your ideal client is never going to be out there networking. They're never going to be, someplace that you can readily get easily to be able to target them. So what I figured out over the years is if I can take my perfect client and I put them in the dead center of a triangle, I put me at the top, and then I break down the other vendors they use that don't compete with me, but are in there during the same moment of time I am. That if I can get connected to those people, I can make a lot of really cool things happen. So the synergy triangle is you at the top, your best client in the center, and then two other industries down at the bottom, which are vendors that also sell to that ideal client, but are not competition for you. And so what I found is I could network to get to my referral partners, people who could be talking to my clients, had my clients, and who could potentially bring my name up. What I tried to think about is what are those two industries where my best referral partners are? And then how do I earn my spot on their starting lineup? Like how do I become the only person they think about when my name's brought up? And the way I break that down is not only do they likely have my clients or talking to around my client base, but they are also, needing to meet other vendors that also sell that client base. So what I do is I then break down their own triangles, right? So I give them their own synergy triangle for themselves that fall under mine. And what happens is you're now connecting connections of connections and really getting people super connected and getting them a lot of value in this world. And what I find is once you actually understand that you can connect them to their best referral partners, the value you bring intensifies and increases, and you get a lot more out of it as a whole. The last framework in this that really, two more frameworks, sorry, that really dial this in. So the next one is what I call the PAC system. So PACT is the PAC system. And what this is a series of virtual coffees that allow you to take relationships a hell of a lot deeper and allow you to push towards them becoming your champion. Let's be honest. What most people do is they do a one virtual coffee. They're lucky maybe two, but they then don't push any further because for whatever reason, takes too much time, too many people, a lot of excuses out there. So here's how I look at how I'm going to do virtual coffees to really get it dialed in. The first goal of the first virtual coffee is partner up. And what I'm looking for is who can I partner this person up? Who can I introduce them to? Who can I get them connected to? And so I'm going to spend the majority of the first call getting focused on them, seeing if I can open up their world, seeing if I can make introductions or what value I can bring them in the first step, which is partner up. So what I'm looking for is, do I understand? Are they a good person? Do I understand their ICP? Do I understand who their best referral partners are? And can I get them connected to those people? So now I'm taking the C3 model, which is cool. I've got, contacts out there. I've made contact, VC number one, right? Now I'm going to start making them a connection by opening doors for them, right? So I'm going to start introducing them to other people, and I'm going to try and earn my spot in their starting lineup. So what I'm doing is hopefully making 3 to 5 introductions for them on that first call to their best referral partners, people who could be their starting lineup. Okay. Now, for me, who gets virtual coffee number 2 is the person that during virtual coffee number 1 makes introductions for me, opens doors for me. Because what that tells me is cool. They get it, right? There's a thought process here and they understand networking at a lot higher level. So if you make introductions for me on virtual coffee number 1, we're instantly going to schedule virtual coffee number 2 30 days out, right? Just getting this dialed in. It's going to be scheduled 30 days out because I want to stay in front of you. Okay. So if they don't make introductions, I don't schedule virtual coffee number 2. So let's say they did, we go 30 days, we come and we meet for virtual coffee number 2. Virtual coffee number 2 is the second letter in the PAC system, which is adjust. And now what I want to find out is, were my introductions good, right? Were they the right people? So now I'm going to adjust to make sure I made the right introductions. And if I didn't, I'm going to up my game and make them more introductions, or get more detailed on the introductions I'll make. And so it's totally about adjusting and correcting and making sure you're doing the right thing. Now, who gets virtual coffee number 3? It's the person that in between virtual coffee number 1 and number 2 makes more introductions. Like they're bringing my name up in rooms that I'm not in. So if they make introductions for me, in between virtual coffee number 1, virtual coffee number 2, when we get together for virtual coffee number 2, I'm going to automatically go ahead and schedule virtual coffee number 3, and it's going to be another 30 days out. Okay. Um, for virtual coffee number 3, what I'm going to do is it's the C in PACT, which stands for combine. On virtual coffee number 3, of course, I'm going to check in and see how my introductions did, how the referrals did. But on virtual coffee number 3, now I want to see how we can combine forces. Can we do a workshop together? Can we go to an event together? Can we attend a conference together? Like, is there something we can do where we combine forces and get after it and create something to be able to go talk to clients in the same vein, in the same ID, and really open doors for each other? Okay. So who then gets virtual coffee number 4? This is the person that actually follows through with whatever we combine in. Okay. Whatever we would do. So if we created workshops together, they're going to, they did the workshops. If we're going to an event, they'll do the events, right? They actually show up and do the thing. Right. If somebody gets through virtual coffee 1, 2, and 3 with me, right, then, it tells me they're in the game and they're ready to win it. Now, the gap between virtual coffee number 3 and virtual coffee number 4 depends on what the combine is. But this full system you can literally do in 120 days if you were getting after it and making it happen. And then the final T in PAC stands for track, because I want the ROI from the engagement. Okay. I want to understand very specifically how much value have they gotten out of the relationship? How much value have I gotten out of the relationship and really gotten dialed in? Okay. By the time you get to track, you've created a champion. Okay. And I get people tell me all the time, Donnie, this sounds like a lot of freaking work. And it is. Okay. This stuff takes time. But if you looked at the 4 virtual coffee setup, it's really simple. You're going to do a lot of first-time virtual coffees, and not a lot of people are going to get the second coffees, but some will. And so you're going to get a portion of the virtual coffee number 1 that gets number 2. You're going to get an even smaller, group of people that are going to get virtual coffee number 3. And you're only going to get a handful of people that get all the way to virtual coffee number 4, because by then you're looking for defined ROI in the entire system. But if you take people through this process, you're going to be blown away by the depth of the relationship and the things that you can find and create from it. And then the last framework of all this is 30-30-30. And this came from the idea of people telling me that networking was the only thing that they were doing in their business. And here's what I'll tell you. If you're only networking, you're going to fail. Networking alone will not build your business. So you need the 30-30-30 framework, which tells you where you should be spending your time in business development activities. So 30-30-30. 30% of your time, you need to be networking. You need to be in the marketplace, doing the virtual coffees, going to events, and be heavily involved in your community as a whole. The next one is 30% of the time, you need to have thought leadership, which means you need to be teaching, putting out content, right? Becoming a thought leader in the space because you're teaching the things that you've figured out over the years. And then the last one is cold outreach. You have to be doing some sort of cold outreach in your business. So 30% of your time, you need to be networking. 30% of your time, thought leadership. 30% of your time, you need to be doing cold outreach. And the crazy thing about doing the thought leadership and doing a cold outreach is that all feeds your networking and ultimately builds your best book of business that allows you to go find a lot of clients. So if we bring this full circle, this all sits in the target of C3, where you're taking your contacts to connections to champions. you're ranking them out in a 4-tier ranking system. So rank 1, jerks, rank 2, acquaintance, rank 3, your starting lineup, rank 4 is untouchables. You're then taking them to the synergy triangle where you're looking at, this is who I am, this is my best client, these are my best vendors, that best referral partners I'm going to work with. And then you're going to apply the pack system to make sure you're taking people along the journey to ultimately create champions. And then, you keep everything in rhythm with 30-30-30. If you get this dialed in, it will forever change how you network and allow you to actually build the business that you set out to build at whatever level you wanted to build at. Guys, I love teaching this stuff. I love helping people get this stuff figured out. If you got value out of the day, do me a favor and make sure you subscribe below. Leave me a comment and thoughts around this and share this out with other people. I'm having a lot of fun putting these all together and trying to really break it down for you. But this is the entire framework on which SEN is founded on. And I just love putting it all together. Go have an amazing, awesome week. Go visit a chapter if you haven't already, and feel free to reach out anytime I can help you. Go have some fun, guys. Love you, mean it. See you. Bye.